Karibu sana to the show today, which covers a highly sensitive issue. But I dig very deeply into it to give you many revelations that you may never have heard, so that at the end of it all, you understand much more what is happening in the Mount Kenya region at the moment, and why it seems to be having such a huge impact on Kenyan politics. Because somebody has argued that it is possible for a candidate to win the presidency of the Republic of Kenya without a single vote from Central Province. While I agree with that view, this is much bigger, much bigger than just Central Province votes. And if you take in this video to the very end, you will understand completely. Allow me also this opportunity to announce that my latest weekly intelligence briefings is out. Look out for it in your inboxes. It takes quite a while, about 36 hours for everybody to receive it. So be patient, it's on the way. And if you're not yet a member, no worries. Use the email address you see on your screens right now. Send a blank email and you'll receive an automated response giving you details of how you can become a member. And at the moment we have a great offer, where you can become a life member. Yes, never have to pay subscription again, forever. And you only need to pay $39.99 or 3,999 Kenya shillings. And you receive life membership to both my weekly intelligence briefings and my club 1999. And you also receive sensitive videos, all the sensitive videos you've missed, that have been published before you are a member. I highly recommend you go for it because it includes information related to the topic in this video that was way too sensitive to include here in the public video. So make sure you catch it because it explains what is about to happen to the Deputy President. It explains the real reason behind what we're seeing in newspaper headlines every day at the moment. And it also releases highly sensitive information linked to the Mount Kenya region. You can't afford to miss it. You just can't. Right. Let us now go straight to tackling the highly sensitive issue of Mount Kenya politics and Central Province politics, where you'll be able to hear things that people have been afraid to speak out, but is a reality on the ground. Very shocking stuff. Karibu sana and enjoy. About 2 days ago, I came across this group of Kenyans, ordinary Kenyans, discussing politics. Actually, it was difficult to miss them. You know how Kenyans discuss their politics? With a lot of passion, speaking at the top of their voices. I had somewhere to be, but these opportunities I never miss. As any expert on gathering information will quickly tell you, one of the most effective ways of gathering information is listening to ordinary people. I have gotten some of my most valuable tips in my long career from doing precisely this, just listening to ordinary folks. And I was quickly able to tell the opposing sides. One side was pro-Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, and the other side was pro-Raila Odinga / Musalia Mudavadi. Now, of course, after listening to ordinary people speak, I usually do my own due diligence. I dig further to confirm whether what they're saying is actually true or it is just payukaring, as we say in Kenya. And I ended up learning a lot. You know, if you really want to know what's going on, don't go to social media. All that you'll find in social media are insults and people promoting their favorite presidential candidate. You learn very little. But if you go out there to the villages and speak to ordinary Kenyans, people who some of you would not even give a second look, you'll end up learning a lot. Now, the pro-Ruto side were two members of the House of Mumbi, one from Ranga and one from Kiambu County. And according to these individuals, if elections were held today, Kiambu Kenyans would vote in very large numbers for Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. And the same in Murang'a. And both these two gentlemen emphasized that Nyeri, the other house of Mumbi County, is also locked with the Deputy President. Now, a word of caution. It is possible to hate a politician so much that any information that is positive on that politician, you cannot take and digest. I get that. However, as an analyst, especially a political analyst, whom many Kenyans rely on for accurate information, I don't have that luxury. And if you really want to understand politics, as I keep on saying on this channel, you have to leave your emotions outside the door. Anyway, this information puzzled me, especially after I confirmed it with my contacts on the ground. In fact, one of them told me, Chris, this is what I'm always telling you, and you don't believe. Now you meet some strangers talking and you believe. My response, it's not that I don't believe, but I just didn't think the man has this much support. And of course, now I have to solve the mystery. Why? Now let me make something clear here so that we don't get mixed up. You see, if we say the Deputy President is very popular in Kiambu at the moment, and if elections were held today, he would win Kiambu County. We are not saying Deputy President William Samoei Ruto will win the presidential elections. We are not even saying that when elections finally come next year, gosh, it's very close. We are not saying that he'll win Kiambu then. Because in politics, things change in a flash. In politics, popularity on the ground may not translate into actual votes. Sometimes voters come back to their senses inside the polling booth. They come back to their tribal senses. That's what I mean. Let me give you a very practical example. In 2013, there was a presidential candidate called Peter Kenneth. He campaigned countrywide with very catchy slogans. He gained massive support countrywide. He spent a lot of money. And it would have been easy for anybody to say that this man is going to get a lot of votes countrywide. In fact, this man can easily be the runner-up in the election. But when the day to vote came and Peter Kenneth supporters, firm supporters, went to the polling booth, I believe a vast majority of them came back to their senses. Tribal senses. And I'm thinking, their thought process went something like this. Yes, I like Peter Kenneth. Yes, Peter Kenneth is my favorite presidential candidate by far. However, this is about saving the community, saving the house of Mumbi. I cannot save the house of Mumbi from Raila by voting Peter Kenneth. I can't lose or waste my vote. I have to vote for the candidate with the highest support, who will save our community from Raila Odinga. And of course, that candidate is Uhuru Kenyatta. Yes, Peter Kenneth is also from the House of Mumbi. However, Uhuru Kenyatta has much more support. He's the one who's going to win this election. So at the end of the day, Peter Kenneth received the number of votes you see on your screens right now. What? What happened? Yep, kunaendanga hivyo. Another quick example. In 1997, the Kalenjin community were completely fed up with their own son, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, who was vying for the presidency to win his last term in office. And Mwai Kibaki handlers saw the opportunity, and therefore they invaded the Rift Valley. And Mwai Kibaki got a lot of support right across the Rift Valley. Indeed, the only place he could not make any inroads was from the president's own home, village and community, the Tugen. And I don't think he really cared about that, because you see, the Tugen are a minority amongst the larger Kalenjin nation. And Mwai Kibaki must have done his sums, and he must have been assured he was going to win the presidency. Of course, his calculations included a massive number of votes from the Rift Valley. Well, when election day came, the Kalenjin community, very pissed off by Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, went to the voting booth and voted for that man they're fed up with, almost to a man. So now, let's get down to the business of figuring out exactly what is happening deep inside the House of Mumbi, so that we start to understand all the strange things we're hearing. Now, what you see very clearly on the ground is that the Kikuyu community are very angry. A vast majority of them are very pissed off by the Uhuru Kenyatta presidency. And this is what the deputy president has taken full advantage of. I'll give you an example from real life. Because at the end of the day, what is happening here is nothing new. It's just human nature. Very normal for humans. Take the example of where a man kicks his wife out of their matrimonial home. You will notice, in most instances, the wife will start having a very good relationship with her former husband's enemies. It is human nature that when somebody pisses you off in a major way, you want to hit back. And how do you hit back best? You hit back by linking up with his worst enemies. Because they know nothing will hurt you more than for them to be friendly with people who want to finish you. People you consider your worst enemies. That's just how it goes. It is the way humans express their anger at somebody. So now, the Kikuyu community is pissed off with Uhuru Kenyatta's presidency. So can you guess who they'll gravitate towards just to hit back? Can you guess what their reaction towards the BBI will be before they read a single one in the document? Now, before we come back to discuss what really triggered this venom, it is worth noting that past presidents in Kenya have had a very similar problem towards the end of their reign. Under different circumstances, yes, but the same problem. Jomo Kenyatta, towards the end, before he passed on while still in office, had really pissed off the House of Mumbi. They were fed up with the Jomo Kenyatta. Things were made worse by the fact that the last major political assassination under Jomo Kenyatta was that of a man called J.M. Kariuki, a Kikuyu, a very popular politician countrywide, and a vernacular singer, who was not very well known then, a man called Joseph Kamaru, sang a song, released a number on J.M. Kariuki and his death. And in the song, the Kikuyu language, there is nowhere where he mentioned Jomo Kenyatta. But the song was banned. People were arrested for having that song. For those interested, I've included a link in the description area below, where you can actually listen to that song and understand the circumstances around it. J.M. Kariuki, a great Kenyan, was assassinated in March 1975. Jomo Kenyatta passed on in August 1978, about 3 years later. But people had not forgotten. There are many who were relieved, that finally their prayers had been answered and the Jomo Kenyatta presidency had ended. Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, towards the end of his 24-year reign, had really pissed off his own Kalenjin community. I've already told you that story, how Mwai Kibaki tried to take advantage of that hatred, most in the community had towards Moi. They felt he hadn't done enough for the community. Indeed, they felt he had done nothing for the community. And in fact, the Kalenjin nation had suffered greatly, more than other communities, when their own son was in State House. And it is the same with Mwai Kibaki. By the time he was finishing off his last term, although there was a grand coalition government in place, the House of Mumbi were not happy with Mwai Kibaki. And now we see the same with Uhuru Kenyatta. And this should be familiar to the president, because in 2002, when he vied for the presidency against Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta lost the Rift Valley in a major way. And one of the major reasons is because it was a Moi project. And of course the Rift Valley were fed up with Moi. So anybody Moi suggested would be the last person the Rift Valley would vote for. It's human nature, as we have seen. But let us now go in a little deeper here to find out the precise and exact reasons why the president is so unpopular right now in his own backyard. Now, the Kikuyu community are mostly entrepreneurs. They have small business. They have big businesses. As we say in Kenya, walichanuka mapema. While other Kenyan communities were herding their cattle and goats, etc., without a care in the world, members of the House of Mumbi were already making money. And part of the reason is historical. You see, when the colonialists came to Kenya, one of the first things they did was to grab prime land belonging to the Kikuyu community. In the eyes of the white man, it was all very primitive, what the Kikuyu were doing. But actually, they were making a livelihood from whatever was being seen as primitive. And without their prime land, they had to survive. Therefore they got into business straight away, much earlier than many other communities. Bottom line, and don't get jealous, they have a long history of being entrepreneurs. There is something else about the community that is very admirable, and indeed has helped them a great deal to survive. They are generous. Now hold on a minute, let me just explain. Because I can already hear people raising their hands. No, Chris, what are you talking about? They're generous in the following way. They share information. If they find a new money-making venture and they go back to the village and see a suffering relative, they will take them in under their wing. And they'll train them. They'll show them how they make money. When somebody from the Kamba community, for example, makes money, they will drive to their home village with their car at the earliest opportunity. And they will stop over the shopping center to make sure as many people as possible see them and their new car. And then when a suffering relative asks them to help them out, they will tell them, no, what I do is too complicated. You can't get it. And so these forced Kambas to learn trades by copying. You spy on somebody making money, and then you learn from observation. Because they would teach you. True story. Listen to popular Kamba music. It is all the same. Somebody released a song, it was very popular. Everybody else copied it. Copied the style. And they continue to copy widely today. They're copy-paste experts. Anyway, so the House of Mumbi became entrepreneurs. And very many of them are entrepreneurs. And I've explained one of the reasons why. The Kikuyus share information freely with relatives. They'll not give them money. They'd prefer to show them how to fish, if I can put it like that. Indeed, the main source of income for the community is business. And we know, under the Kenyatta administration, businesses have suffered like never before. Indeed, all businesses, it doesn't matter what community owns that business. But to the Kikuyu, they are focused on their own plight. Let me give you an example. There are many examples, but let me just give you one. There's been a very spirited effort by the Kenyatta administration to fight against fake products. And so somebody I know from the House of Mumbi community had their whole container impounded. Samples were taken to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. They didn't pass the necessary test. The entire container was impounded. That man's business, small business, was ruined. He couldn't take that kind of loss. And so today, he's out of business. And those businesses that have survived, they have gone through very tough times. And the community blames it entirely on the government, led by one of their own. Those are the views of the community. Of course, my views are slightly different. Some of the government policies have had very good intentions. Even fighting fake products has good intentions, because it is supposed to encourage local manufacturing, local industries, many of whom suffer greatly because people import fake, cheap substitutes. And our local industry can't compete with that. In my view, the problem was with the implementation. Because you're in government. To implement something, it involves a lot of people. And most of these people are corrupt. And the small man, as a result, the small entrepreneur, suffers greatly. There's also the fact that many policies, you will not see the good effects in the short term. They're not immediate benefits. Indeed, some of the policies of the Kenyatta government, we will start to see 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, long after Kenyatta has left the presidency. That is just the reality of things. If you travel anywhere in the Mount Kenya region, you'll hear people saying, this government has destroyed the economy. In many instances, not all, what they mean is that the policies of this government have destroyed their businesses, or destroyed their relative's business, or destroyed the business of a friend. That's what they really mean. Let me just give you one more policy that has had good intentions, but is a disaster politically. The clampdown on illicit brews, now Central Kenya, is infamous for that. And indeed, many of these illicit brews have been harmful to people's health. People have even died as a result of drinking this stuff. Some have gone blind. The benefits of clamping down are obvious. However, the owner of that brewery is out of business. His customers, many of whom are voters. Indeed, if you ever visit any of these places where they serve this illegal brew, you will find that they discuss nothing else but politics. All those people are angry. All those people are not happy because their thinking is, under a previous administration, we were okay. The business thrived. We had a few victims, but we did well in business. This is their thinking. And now, this administration has come, and it has destroyed our livelihoods. You know, during the 2017 presidential elections, Raila Odinga said something that most people didn't understand. He promised, if elected, to make chang'aa legal. Now, chang'aa is a local Kenyan brew. It's a spirit. And it is very popular, especially with poverty-stricken Kenyans, but even with others. Because one of the advantages is that you don't have to go and sit somewhere and spend a lot of money. One glass of good chang'aa is enough. 2 glasses of good chang'aa and you're done for the day. You'll not be able to see the road home, and you might do 1 or 2 unimaginable things. Anyway, you can now understand where this pledge from Raila Odinga was coming from. He was very familiar with what was happening even then in Central Province, the clampdown on illicit brews. So you can imagine a situation where all these businesses are suffering as a result of government policy, and then the government goes broke, and is forced to lay a lot of emphasis on taxation. Now, the man on the ground doesn't want to know. All they know is that the government has finished their businesses, because many of these businesses also have suppliers who are affected. Apart from the main business, there are many other suppliers who supply that business who also lose that business. And so they feel that the government is trying to squeeze blood out of stones. Because the logic, as far as they're concerned, is first of all you make businesses thrive, and then you come in with taxation. Then they can easily pay your tax without feeling the pinch. But you destroy businesses, then you come in with taxation, strict taxation. Unataka kutumaliza ama nini? That, my friends, is the feeling on the ground. And therefore, when you see the Deputy President visiting any area of Central Province, you can now understand why people go wild. They cheer him, they support him, they lift up wheelbarrows. The whole idea is to show the person who is against the Deputy President, that they love his enemy. It is human nature. And politicians in the region are feeling the heat already, big time. The truth is, many politicians in the Mount Kenya region fear to go on the ground and support any government project. They fear to go on the ground to try to popularize the BBI. Now you understand. It is not that the Kikuyu cannot read and comprehend a document. No. It is just that they are too angry to even see the words. That is why you'll hear them saying BBI is not a priority. Their priority is their ruined, destroyed livelihoods. Period. What else do you want to tell them? And it is sad, because some of these circumstances would have easily been avoided, by being far-sighted and by interrogating a lot of policy implementation, and the impact it will have on the community. One good idea would have been to introduce a substitute business, Yeah, for all those who you put out of business because of illicit brews. It is not easy, yes, I admit, but it is not impossible. And it would have shown the people that you care. And even sadder is the fact that Raila Odinga's BBI has been caught up in this Central Province politics, giving it little or no chance in the Mount Kenya region. That is the truth. And it has become very clear that any politician who wants to be re-elected, who wants to vie for any office in 2022, must distance themselves as much as possible from the Uhuru Kenyatta administration. Otherwise, they lose big time. That is the sad political reality on the ground. And the end result is that any project, any idea, any successor that the president puts his rubber stamp on will meet with strong resistance, always from the Mount Kenya region. Now you understand why. If you like this video, I would really appreciate a like. And if you're not yet a subscriber, you'd better subscribe. There are a lot of valuable goodies coming up. So to ensure that you don't miss them, press the subscriber button and the bell so that you receive a notification from YouTube every time I produce a new video. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.